All right, welcome back to the Daily Mastermind. George Wright III with your daily dose of inspiration, motivation, and education. If this is your first time listening, I want you to understand that the point of the Daily Mastermind is to give you that daily mindset check, that discipline, consistency that you need in order to create your best life. And today I'm going to just get right and raw with you. I'm not even going to edit this podcast. As many of you know, I had surgery on my bicep, so I've been reinventing a lot of my daily routines. And today I'm going to give you some raw discussion, some thoughts that I had. In fact, I'm going to do this for the next couple of days. Stuff that I think is really going to empower you to take more action. And so you're just going to get some unfiltered thoughts. You're going to get some ideas that I think can kind of take you to the next level, because it's been really weighing on my mind lately. What can I do to help individuals that are listening to the podcast, just like you, high achievers, individuals that have really decided that they want to level up in their life, take more action? What can I do to help you to take more action? And so the next couple of days, I want to talk to you about the three things that I think hold you back from taking action and hold most people back that I've encountered. At the end of the day, I really believe that, I've seen enough people over the years that have wanted to level up, that have not taken action, that I've been able to identify a lot of things, but really three primary things. There's fears that hold you back. There's your identity that holds you back. And there's uncertainty that holds you back. There are a lot of other things, but these are the three things that I find are really right at the top of the list. So I want you to listen to me today as I talk about the fears that are holding you back. And then tomorrow and on Friday, we'll do, a little bit more of the same, raw, unfiltered. I hope you don't mind. But I want to get right down to it with you today. And I'm going to take, a couple of minutes and just share some of my thoughts with you. But before I do, this is why I want you to listen carefully today. Listen, I know that you've probably heard the idea that fears hold you back. And I'm sure you've heard that there are things that you fear in your life, and you've thought about that. But I'm telling you, there's some perspectives that I want to share with you that I believe I'm qualified to share with you. I mean, we've done events. My company has marketed events all over the world. Millions of people, with some of the biggest thought leaders out there, individuals like Tony Robbins, Robert Kiyosaki, just all kinds of thought leaders. And there are some patterns that I've learned, both for success hacks as well as, identifying things that hold you back. And so I really want you to think about this discussion today a little differently than just personal development content you might be consuming. I want you to think about what the fears are that are potentially holding you back. So when we discuss things that you might have heard before, I want you to dig a little bit deeper. So for example, fear, obviously you've heard, is an acronym for false evidence appearing real. False evidence appearing real. And I want you to really think about that for a minute, because what are your fears? I mean, there are some primal type fears that you have, like real fears of what's happening or something that could happen to you, and things that make you, move or, get, defensive in your life. But I'm talking about most of the fears that hold you back are imaginary. Most of the fears that are holding you back are either at a subconscious level, or they're imaginary events that haven't happened, that may happen in the future. I'm afraid of what people are going to think of me. I'm afraid of failure. I'm afraid of, the result that could happen from this. But the bottom line is this, and this is the most important thought I want to plant in your mind today, is that one of the biggest reasons you're not taking action to level up your business, get better in your relationships, level up in your income, your wealth, your investing, your personal mindset, your own personal time. The reason you're not leveling up is you're afraid to take action. And you're afraid of what people think. You're afraid of the result. You're afraid of failure, when failure is really just, it's synonymous with success. Success and failure are not one or the other. Success and failure are two sides of the same coin. And so you've got to dig deep into what it is that's keeping you back, because here's the challenge and here's the problem. The point that I want to make with you today is that if most of your fears are false events, that it's a fear of something that hasn't happened, might happen in the future, you will never win a battle against something that doesn't exist. You can't win a battle against what people will think when it hasn't even happened. You can't find strategies to overcome failure when your failure hasn't even happened yet. Not to mention the fact that your failure is probably going to be a good thing for you. So how you, you know, visualize and your philosophy around failure is so important as well. But fear is something that I believe you have to identify as something that hasn't happened, and then you got to learn how to use it. Because here's the bottom line. Everyone has fears. I have fears. I mean, I have all kinds of stuff that I do all the time that doesn't work, that, I worry about what people think. A lot of people don't like it. But the bottom line is successful people use fear to their advantage. So how do you do that? Well, there's really just two simple steps. Number one, you've got to be aware of your fear, and you have to identify it when it comes up. When you have the opportunity to do something and you're afraid to take the risk, when you have the opportunity to take action and you're afraid of what people think, when you have the opportunity to take action and you don't believe or you fear you don't have the qualifications to make it happen, you've got to identify that that's a fear, and you have to turn it into fuel. That's the second step. See, successful people take their fears and they use it to motivate them. They use it to motivate them. And there's a lot of ways we can get into on how you do that, but the best way for you to do that is just to visualize your future self and know that when you are at that point that you have accomplished the things that you want to accomplish, would that person really fear what you're fearing? And then you need to act. So it's one of those things where I believe if you will identify and recognize and accept that fears are holding you back, then you can take action. And what you'll do is you'll identify them when they come up and you'll use it as fuel instead of using it as a reason. When I was working with T. Harv Eker, he used to always say, you can have reasons or you can have results, but you can't have both. Your fears are going to give you a reason not to act, or you're going to act anyway and you're going to get results. But you have to take the action. You have to do what it takes. And the only way you can do that is to recognize, there's so many subconscious things in your life that are directing your day-to-day activities that I think half the time you don't even recognize that you're holding back. And this is why we're having this daily conversation, because I want to identify to you what it is that's holding you back. Because let's be honest, 90% of your problems are going to be solved by leveling up your life. There's no question in my mind that that's what you need to do. So at the end of the day, I want you to think real seriously about what the fears are that are holding you back. Write them down. I want you to think about what's holding you back and write them down. And then think for a couple of minutes on how you can use that as fuel. If it's what people think, well, I'll tell you what, there's no better way to make a statement than to have success. Is it because you don't know or understand or learn or have the skills for something? Great, go learn it. But you need to identify those fears and conquer them by using that fear as fuel, not as a reason and an excuse. So that's the first thing I wanted to kind of get off my chest. Tomorrow, I want to talk to you a little bit more about how we can, drill into your identity, because your identity is definitely something that I think is holding you back. And then we can talk about uncertainty or even your need for control. Those are the thoughts I want to share with you. I hope you will get something from that. I'd love to hear from you. Hit me up on the Daily Mastermind on Facebook or Instagram. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what your fears are. What can I do to support you? And I'll look forward to talking with you more tomorrow. In the meantime, share this show, and I appreciate you supporting the Daily Mastermind. I really look at it as a relationship of helping you to create your best life, and I want to do everything I can to help you. So have an amazing day, and I'll talk with you tomorrow.